Welcome to Hay Springs. We're a quaint little town in northwestern Nebraska that knows how to take it easy. With a small population of 599, it won't take long before everyone will know your name. We know the definition of flopping. We even refer to our kids as children. So head on over to Hay Springs and trust me, you won't be disappointed. It seemed like a nice place to live at first. Bill and his family moved to Hay Springs to get out of the hustle and bustle of the big city. Well, Denver, Colorado anyway. Bill, his wife Teresa, and their two teenage boys, Denver and Leon, moved into a 4-bedroom, 3-bath farmhouse on 100 acres of farmland. The plot is mainly wheat fields with a hay field or two here and there. The equipment to maintain the fields came with the purchase of the property. The standing purchase orders and auto-renewing contracts for wheat purchases transferred to whoever owns the property. Bill and his two boys would easily be able to work it and make it quite profitable. A turnkey business. Nice! For the next year, everything ran smoothly. They settled in and harmonized quite well within the community. Bill and the boys have their farming routine they do every day until nearly dusk. Teresa makes dinner. They have dinner, then Teresa homeschools the boys up until bedtime. It's a tough ride, but they plow through it. One Friday, Denver and Leon were walking back from the barn after parking their tractors. They were very tired and didn't say much during the 200-yard hike. When they got halfway home, they heard a howl come from the direction of the barn. They've encountered coyotes many times. Usually, the only thing that happens is the critter squares up to them, puts on a mean face, and growls long and low. Instead of running and seeming like prey, the boys turn toward the canine, bow up, and let out a loud roar/scream. The varmint then runs off with their tail between their legs. They have a couple of horses they ride around the farm on, housed in the stalls of the barn. The older of the two, Denver, reluctantly said, "Come on, Leon, let's go scare these assholes away from the horses." Leon replied, "Oh man, I'm fucking tired. The horses will be fine. They always are. And besides, I'm starving. I'm going back to the house. You go back if you want to." Denver looked back at the barn. The sun was setting right behind it. It was gorgeous. Denver made a face, let out a sigh, and continued back toward the house with his brother. They had dinner, completed their homeschooling, and went to bed. Rinse and repeat. As they were sleeping, Leon was awakened to the sound of something falling over outside the house. Figuring it was nothing more than a critter, he went back to sleep. A few minutes later, a howl came from outside. It was a good ways away, but loud enough to wake both boys. Denver whispered, "Did you hear that?" "Hell yes. What the fuck was it?" "I guess a wolf or coyote," Denver answered. At that moment, their dad, fully clothed, burst through their door. "Boys, get your clothes on and grab your guns, now!" He slammed the door. The brothers looked at each other bewildered, with wide eyes. They stumbled out of bed, got dressed, and loaded their guns. Right as they were about to open the front door, their dad fired off 3 rounds from the front porch. The boys were startled and hesitated opening the door. Bill opened the door, looked at them, and ordered, "Come out here and stand beside me." He pulled Denver out and to one side, while Leon walked out on his own and completed the formation on the other side. Denver asked, "Oh, what did you see, Dad?" It looked like a wolf. A very big one," Bill said with a slight stutter. Leon inquired, "Did you get it?" "I don't know. I don't think so. It ran off. Let's go check on the horses. Your guns are loaded, but on safety, right?" "Of course, Dad," moaned Leon. "I'd have my finger on the safety, ready to go to fire at any moment, though, just to be safe." Sort of. One way to put it, I guess. Bill made the "let's go" gesture, and they went to investigate the barn. When they got there, the horses were skittish, but okay. The thick wooden stall doors had scratches on them, lots of them. Something was clawing on the doors. The stall doors are nearly 5 feet tall. Bill checked for tracks. They were everywhere. There was definitely more than one of them, and they were huge. Big, wide pads with deep claw holes along the top. Bill commanded his young'uns, "Boys, look at the floor." They simultaneously looked down. It was what looked like dog prints in the loose dirt of the barn floor. As Bill took pictures of the tracks, Leon's headlamp went out. Dad, my headlight is dead." Not exactly sure what he was dealing with, Bill reconsidered his plan. "Boys, let's head back to the house and regroup." They speed walked their way back to the house, looking back occasionally. They finally made it back to the front porch. Denver, a little shaken, asked, What was it?" Struggling to catch his breath after the brisk pace, Bill responded, "Those are definitely canine tracks. There are also different sizes of prints, so probably a pack." Leon jumped in. "So if it was a wolf pack, that means they were out hunting, right?" "Yeah, more than likely. I don't like that they were trying to get at the horses." They went back into the house and eventually went to sleep. The next day, Bill got up and decided to do a little online research to find out what was trying to attack his horses. I know what that's like. The research, not the horses. After hours of searching, he narrowed it down to coyotes or mountain lions. Both have been spotted in various parts of Nebraska. Wolves have also been spotted, but it's very rare. He reasoned to himself, "That was not a cat. It was canine. So not a mountain lion, but For those tracks to match up to a coyote, it would have to be a monstrous-sized coyote. Maybe it is a wolf. Later, as he was watching TV, a very good plan of action came to him. The next day, he went out and bought 6 night vision CCTV cameras with motion sensors and a monitor. He installed 4 of them around the barn, 1 on a telephone pole beside the road to the barn, and 1 on the front porch. He put the monitor in his bedroom and linked the feed to his cell phone. Several nights passed, and the only thing that set off the cameras were rogue birds. Fucking birds. However, one night, a week after the cameras were set up, one of the cameras activated. It was showing what looked like a wolf, only it was all black and enormous. Then another. The light from the monitor shone enough through his eyelids that it woke him up. He groggily looked at the picture. His eyes quickly opened up. "What the?" he mumbled. All of a sudden, an eerie howl echoed through the quiet stillness of the night. Then another. "Holy shit!" he exclaimed. "Boys, get up now!" he shouted. His kids were wore out and didn't hear him. They were probably ignoring him. I know I would. Still in his drawers, he burst into their room. "Boys, you need to get up, get dressed, get your shit, and meet me out on the front porch right away." Now awake, but fumbling for their clothes, they started dressing. While Bill was away from the monitor, 6 more large black wolves sauntered by the camera. One even defiantly looked up at the camera. They quickly got robed and equipped and stumbled out onto the front porch. But their dad wasn't there. Oh, shit. "Dad, where are you?" Denver asked. From his bedroom, his dad called back, "Get in the house and lock the door." He really needs to make up his mind. The boys scrambled inside and locked the door. Surprised, their dad said, "Oh my God, you won't believe this. Get in here, look at this." They put down their guns, went into their dad's bedroom, and looked at the screen. The huge wolves were pacing back and forth. One of the cameras caught the jumbo-sized wolves jumping up and trying to bite the horses. Their dad popped up. "All right, fellas, looks like we're going on a wolf hunt tonight." They grabbed their guns and marched towards the barn. A quarter of the way there, they heard one of the horses scream out in pain. They need to get there and stop horsing around. They started sprinting towards the barn. They stopped just outside the entrance to the barn. They saw 4 pairs of glowing eyes staring at them menacingly. "Send them to hell, boys," their dad ordered. After what sounded like a small war going on, the gunfire stopped. Their dad motioned with his arm to follow him. They walked single file into the barn. Hey, just like Scooby-Doo. They heard a whimpering sound coming from the other side. It looked like the rest of the pack had left. They cautiously approached the downed predator. When they got 10 feet away, it stopped whimpering and started growling. As it struggled to get up and launch one final attack, Bill shot the predatory animal in the head. It dropped to the floor and involuntarily kicked for a few seconds. Bill took a closer look at it. Well, it's not a gray wolf because they're gray. You can't get anything past him. It was approximately 5 feet long from head to tail. It weighed around 200 pounds. It was at least 25% bigger than an American Mastiff, the biggest dog alive today. Its canine teeth were huge and sticking out through its lips. Its legs looked much longer and thicker than a gray wolf. This thing could eat a gray wolf, Bill thought. He wanted to find out more about this strange creature. So, he and the boys loaded the giant wolf into the back of his truck and pulled it into the garage so scavengers wouldn't wreck the evidence. It's going to make the garage stink. The next day, he took it to Dennis, a friend of his who was a zoologist. He asked Dennis, "So, what the hell is this thing?"
You're not going to believe it.
Try me.
I think it's something that hasn't been around for a long time.
Shocked and confused, Bill replied, Okay, enough suspense. Out with it.
It looks like a dire wolf.
Like from the Game of Thrones? Bill asked.
Well, sort of. That was Hollywooded up some, but yeah.
In complete disbelief, Bill mocked. Do I need a special sword or spell or something? Laughing, Dennis replied,
No, it's just very strange. They haven't been around for the last 10,000 years.
Bill continued. Well, what can you tell me about this one?
Well, she's about 5 years old and in her prime. I'm sure she's already had a litter of puppies. She was in good health. She's eating well. There's one problem, though. She's going to have a lifelong mate who's going to be looking for her.
Bill shakily replied. He's not going to be happy when he can't find her. He's going to be even more pissed when he finds out you killed her. Dennis continued.
They not only perform pack hunting, but the entire direwolf pack is made up of direct relatives to the alpha couple. Taking out one of the alphas of the group is going to make this very personal to them. You have to be extremely careful and vigilant.
Sounds like a wolf mafia, Dennis concurred.
That's a very good way to put it.
Bill left the dead dire wolf with Dennis for further analysis. After Bill got home, he called the family into the living room for a meeting. He said, All right, I found out that the animal I shot was a dire wolf.
Oh, like on GOT?
Sounded Leon. Confused about the abbreviation, but eventually figuring it out, Bill responded, Oh, yes, kind of. Obviously, they can be killed by shooting them, but they're not going to be happy I took out the mama bear of the pack. So, be hyper aware.
Denver and Leon looked at each other scared. Later on, as they were sleeping, Leon heard a low growl outside his window. He crept out of bed and slowly pulled back the curtains. A large black wolf was staring at him from the other side, drool dripping from its lower lip. It raised its head and let out a loud roar. Suddenly, the sound of glass breaking all around the house rang out. The boys could hear a struggle happening in their parents' bedroom. They grabbed their guns. 2 shots belted from their parents' bedroom. One came through the wall just above Denver's head. They both ducked as they heard the sound of their mother's screaming fade away. They opened the door to their parents' bedroom and witnessed their dad aiming out the bedroom window, smoke still trickling from the end of the barrel.
They took her! We have to rescue her!" their dad shouted. "2 of the dire wolves grabbed your mother by her shoulder and dragged her off into the darkness." Not thinking rationally, Bill frantically started getting dressed. The boys were in total shock. They couldn't believe what just happened. Nevertheless, they got into some clothes and loaded their weapons. Bill checked the CCTVs and caught the direction in which they went into the darkness. Locked and loaded, they stepped outside. They instantly heard the howl of the alpha male taunting them. "That way!" Bill pointed in the direction of the call. They made their way past the barn and into some nearby woods. As they crept through the dark, foggy landscape, a growl came from one side of the trees. As they looked in that direction, a menacing snarl came from the other side. After a few tense moments, they proceeded further into the trees. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. They came to what looked like a clearing in the middle of the woodlands. They all 3 faced out in different directions, sweeping with their flashlights. Through the hazy darkness, Denver saw a set of glowing eyes bobbing in the dark. He took aim and fired. More roaring came from the opposite side. Bill realized something. They were surrounded, and this was a trap. "Get ready to unload on them, boys," their dad warned. Right as he finished his sentence, 4 dire wolves came charging out of the darkness from all different directions. An all-out battle had begun. The smell of gunpowder permeated the entire area. It smelled like the 4th of July. I love the smell of gunpowder in the morning. The dire wolves realized they were outgunned and turned tail back into the wilderness. Denver called out, "Mom? Mom! Where are you?" Nothing. They started searching the area, figuring they must be close to the den. Bill noticed a blood trail. "Here, boys, follow me." They followed the blood trail for a few minutes. It led them down into a cubbyhole. Just outside the hole, Bill spotted a shredded piece of Teresa's pajamas, covered in blood. The boys covered his back while he ventured into the nest. Man, I don't know about that shit. After a few feet, he saw the unimaginable. Teresa's lifeless, mangled, partially nude body lying face down. He chaotically grabbed her arm and pulled her out. She was bleeding badly in several different places. Leon desperately applied pressure to her wounds, while his dad started CPR. Denver called 911. About 30 minutes later, the paramedics arrived. But by then, it was too late. The police arrived and searched the area. They found another dead dire wolf and blood trails leading everywhere. Sounds like they must have hit them all. The next several days, he and his children mourned heavily for their lost love. He did not sign up for this when he purchased his little house on the prairie. His children were completely distraught. Shortly after Teresa's funeral, his zoologist friend Dennis called. Not feeling up to talking, Bill didn't answer it. Nevertheless, Dennis left a voicemail. The voicemail said,
Hey bro, it's Dennis. I found out something very interesting from a friend of mine who's a geneticist at the University of Nebraska. He said they've been experimenting a lot with de-extinction. They combined intact scraps of dire wolf DNA from museum specimens with the genome of modern dogs. They're claiming that they can bring back the dire wolf. Can you believe that? The things people will say just to get funding.